So welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Ninja Movies, and today I'm going to be doing a brand new VHS/movie review on the film Men of Honor from the year 2000. This obviously stars Robert De Niro and Cuba Gooding Jr. You would have seen this in one of my most recent updates, and finally, in those updates, there's a lot of movies that I'm brushing over, haven't seen. This was my go-to movie straight after picking it up, and it was well worth it. Once again, I discussed the backing of the cover, and originally I thought it might be a tale from space, judging by this, but it is actually a movie based on the Navy, and the old school Navy suits are what are presented here. If you can think of like the sort of deep sea diver suit reminiscent in movies like the SpongeBob SquarePants film, that's what I'm talking about. Those big iron suits that they just walk along the bottom of the ocean on. That's what this movie's about. This is based on a true story, and I'll just quickly go over some of the features of the VHS before I get into the movie itself. Once again, in that update, I said this is a special edition, and this is actually a rarity for me because I did not know VHS had special features. I thought that was something that came with the new DVD format, at the time. But this actually does have a behind-the-scenes making of that plays right after the film by HBO. It also comes with a music video and a mini documentary called A Tribute to Carl Brashear, which is who Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character is based on. So the VHS quality itself is perfect. It's from the year 2000s. It looks really, really good. And, to actually have bonus features on it is quite crazy. The tape itself, obviously, is in great condition. And I just wanted to spread some, sort of light on this film because this is a film that I had no real introduction to. I did talk to my father about it and my grandpa after watching it, and they had both seen it. Now, I had heard the term cookie before, and that's obviously based on this film. That's what they call Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character in this. A lot of old school VHS tapes you'll see are heavily racist in sort of their era. Like it wasn't PC at all. They're happy to actually show the world as how it was. And at this time and at this place that the movie takes place in, the world was very racist to, the black community. And he gets the nickname Cookie because, they don't take you seriously in the Navy back then if you are of a different skin color. You are just meant to be a cook, and that's about it, and that's why he has the nickname Cookie. He basically becomes the very first black man to, pass all the tests, become a deep sea diver, and it really rings home when he first gets, his chance to go to the training camp, and everyone just bands together except for one person and says, you know what, we're not sharing our dorms or whatever you want to call them, we're not sharing our rooms with this black person. They use it in a much more horrible term, but I'm not going to repeat it here. It's a very, very uplifting film. And even though Robert De Niro is quite an asshole in this movie, he's very, very... He's just a bad person in terms of how he treats Cuba Gooding Jr. for a lot of the film. It does kind of come full circle and they sort of end up supporting each other. You can't deny the talent on this man, and it is very, very uplifting. It just shows, even when everything's against you, you can get out of life what you put your mind to, and you just have to get past the hurdles of the assholes around you. That's what this sort of movie does. I know very little about what it goes into being a Navy SEAL, so it was very, very interesting. Navy deep sea diver. And obviously this is an old school film, once again, where I said that the suits were those old school clunky, walk around on the bottom of the oceans. It's not going to be like that now, but a very of its time kind of piece. I was surprised that this movie was even made in the year 2000s. I just have to bring it home once again. Watching a lot of these VHS films, there is heavy, heavy racial comments in a lot of these movies. But this one sort of justifies it in the story because it's what really happened, and you have to just be blatantly truthful about it. I think it was a very well-received movie on IMDb. I believe it's sitting at a 7.2 out of 10. It did well on its budget. The budget rings in at 32 million and it made 82 million back. I'm a sucker for a true story. I always have been, and one that's this uplifting is just one that you have to watch. And I've watched a lot of war movies and different things like that. This is sort of like the war of training. It's not really, there is a big scene where he loses his leg and has to overcome yet again, after becoming a hero and proving himself to all these people, he has to prove himself once again that he can still do this with only one leg. And that just becomes another layer of motivation in the film. But they don't actually particularly go to war in this movie, so I wouldn't consider it a war movie. It's more about somebody qualifying, if anything. Both the main actors in this do great performances. Robert De Niro plays sort of like a disgruntled alcoholic for a lot of the movie, and Cuba Gooding Jr. Just plays the role of the everyman trying to make it, I guess. Even everyman's a loose term. He's just a heavily talked against figure, and he overcomes all the ins and outs of the racism in the Navy and just in America at the time. It is a movie that I would highly recommend if you haven't watched it. If you're into anything to do with war, Navy, time period pieces, if you're a fan of both these actors, they both just do so goddamn well. And it truly was a movie that I was happy that I picked up on the VHS. Once again, the special edition goes crazy. The behind the scenes documentary on this is very worthwhile as well. HBO always does quality. And I just wanted to come on here and say, have you seen Men of Honor? If it's been a little while, I'd give it a rewatch because it was a very uplifting movie. One that I felt was very motivational. And, it was something that I haven't seen Cuba Gooding Jr. in a movie where he did, so goddamn well like this in a long time. I know that he won an Oscar early and then, his buzz sort of went down. He's fantastic in this movie, I just have to say it. And from the year 2000, it's a very, very emotionally well done time period piece, and I would highly recommend it to any audience out there. So if you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, add it to your favorites, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the Futurama episode 4 review coming very soon.